The divide we face is just enormous, and we should recognize how big a problem we need to solve. And this is a problem that is more impactful now than it was a year ago, but it was here a year ago as well. You can't do homework the way everybody else can if you happen to be in a home that doesn't have a broadband connection, that doesn't have a good computing device. And that's what we face in so many households across the country.
Although COVID-19's really brought this to the forefront of the public consciousness and really brought home the challenge of inequitable access to high-speed internet devices and support, it's not a new issue, and it's not something that needs just a temporary fix.
Technology has changed the game for so many educators, so many students. It's how we teach. It's how we learn. It is not a luxury item. It is indoor plumbing. It's how you assign research projects. It's how you verify information in a class discussion in real time. It's how you interview another student half a world away. It's how you publish your poem. It's how you group edit your short story. We use it in 1,000 different ways.
I think there's much more that we need to do to make sure that families have access to broadband and that teachers have the tools that they need to be able to teach in this new hybrid environment or completely online environment, depending on the circumstances, and that parents have tools as well. And I think the Department of Education at the federal level, it's not their job to develop curriculum, but they do have lots of research and evidence about the best ways to engage people remotely via technology. And, I think we see a leadership void there in terms of supporting state and local actors and teachers and parents around how to most effectively engage in an online environment.
We need to start thinking about teacher training in terms of what it means to be a well-qualified, well-prepared educator. And that part and parcel, I don't care if you're teaching kindergarten or AP chemistry, part of your training as a good educator should be the use of technology in making sure that your students are engaged in every level. Technology is a tool. It's never a replacement for a good teacher, but in the hands of a teacher, how does technology enhance your ability to instruct and inspire and engage and get those little curious minds going?
We need a curriculum and so that kids can master digital skills. Everything about the economy tells us today, and then frankly, every year into the future, the jobs that are going to be most in demand and are going to pay the best are going to be jobs that have digital skills as part of them. And that doesn't mean they're necessarily creating software, but they do require the use of technology. As employers, we all have a responsibility to do everything we can to really support the people who work for us. I think if we fail to do that, we're not only just sort of undermining something that's important to the country, but we're going to risk losing people, because I think we're going to face a situation where people will feel compelled to leave the workforce, and that's going to be bad for everybody.
I think part of the puzzle is asking employers to be flexible with their employees, but another huge piece of the puzzle, which I mentioned at the start, is making sure that people have access to high quality childcare, and that those childcare providers are given the resources they need to operate safely.
There are a lot of rural communities where you cannot get a broadband connection, even if you can afford it, because it's just not available. And this is a problem that is impacting tens of millions of Americans, but in truth, we don't know precisely how many, because the federal government, no national organization, has a completely accurate map of the country in terms of broadband access.
This is one of many issues that the COVID pandemic has really brought to the forefront forefront of the public debate, but it also is bringing to the forefront our understanding of the deep inequities that we have in our society. Tens of millions of students, nearly 44 million, are impacted by the gap in access to high quality remote learning. But as Brad said, students of color are more than twice as likely to report they don't have access to high speed internet compared with white students, and over half of rural students attribute the lack of high speed internet to being unable to complete online assignments. So, as Lily said, we really can't address this problem with putting the equity issues at the forefront of our response.
The expectation is that teaching and learning has to continue in the student's home in many of these plans. And what we know is that for so many students, the only technology they have in their home is mom's cell phone, and she takes it with her to work. There's no extra tablet, there's no laptop, there's no Wi-Fi. And in the best plans, we are insisting that you start with the hardest problems. You start with the students who need the most. You lead with equity.
It's beyond the reach of too many households. And we know, because we have good data that shows us, that this is a problem that has a disparate impact on parents and kids of color. African American and Black and Hispanic and Latino children all face this to a degree that white children do not.
This is really a critical component of our nation's infrastructure. It's something, high-speed internet is just as critical as high-speed rail. So we need to think about it that way. And so we need to, in the long term, be thinking about how we can build an infrastructure in our country that enables children to learn, but also enables our businesses to thrive and our society to thrive. So it's something that we have to find the short-term fix for this crisis that we're in, but we have to also lay out a plan for the future that doesn't leave us short-handed like we are right now.